Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Michelle Stinson-Ross, and I am the co-host of SocialChat. For our recap today, I am joined by my partner in crime, Alan Connect.
Hey, everybody.
And our guest from Monday night, Ann Smarty.
Hey.
And we're going to be discussing kind of the highlights of our Twitter chat from Monday night about top social tactics for search marketers. The first question we had for Ann was, what role does social media play in building search authority?
And I can chime in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, anytime.
That's the invite. Okay, so as search marketers, we know for sure from the official sources that they use Google's social signals, but we don't know how, and we do know that those signals are very noisy, so it's hard to understand when it's real noise and when it's just fake noise. That's why we do use social, hoping that helps our rankings, but we don't know how exactly that's helping. What we know for sure is that there is personalized results, and that's exactly what affects the social is affected by social signals. So if you have Google Plus and you have many circles, those people that have you in circles will see your updates and your articles that you have verified much more often than other people. And that's the key to higher rankings. And we also know that Google is very, very aggressive as to how personalized results are shown. Even if you disable them, next time you search, they will be still on by default. So it's very important for Google to make sure that those personalized results are on, and that makes social circles and social signals very important for search rankings. And Google is not using Twitter and Facebook as much as it used to, but those two also play huge impact in Bing. So if you care about Bing rankings, those also help. So that's what we know for sure.
And one of the things for everybody watching this is that I pointed out during the chat, about 2 weeks ago, Microsoft announced a partnership with combination with Clout and LinkedIn, where you can integrate the two, and it's using that influence score from LinkedIn, which has to be tied into your Clout account and your Microsoft account, much like a Google account, and it is now, and they clearly said that they are going to be impacting search results on a personalized basis. So they're coming right out and saying we're using these signals. And since Clout is also looking at your Facebook feed, if you've integrated them, and grabbing out certain milestones, you can guarantee that they're looking at that as part of their social signals. And yes, some people, I know here in Canada, Bing generally has less than 5% of the searches. Most Canadians don't even know Bing exists. But depending on the clients that I've looked at in the US, I've seen them getting upwards to 10, maybe 12% of their traffic from Bing. So it is a good secondary alternative.
Yeah, and we still hope. We have huge hope for Bing. And yay, please.
Yes. We'd like a little more competition in the search market, yes, for sure.
50% is what we are very, very hoping for Bing, so we are all for that.
Very cool. So what kind of tactics can search marketers employ, say, on Facebook then? What gets us the biggest oomph out of being there?
Well, there can be a lot of things that this question might mean. For me, as the Google marketer, that the major thing about Facebook is that I can have my branded results with Facebook and own one more position in Google. That means that I need to optimize my personal profile if I care about my personal brand, and also have brand presence in terms of Facebook page and Facebook group. I personally have both, and they are different in many ways and can be used for different purposes, but the more active and complete your profiles are, the better they are ranked in Google. And another part of this question is how you optimize for internal Facebook search, and we know that they are promoting their search much, and there have been a lot of updates about Facebook search and how they included the updates there, how they support hashtags, and how that also helps to rank. I personally don't use Facebook search that much as the regular user of Facebook, but if Facebook is pushing that hard, probably they will succeed in making it more mainstream and making it more usable. So whenever you update your Facebook profile or page, you need to include some hashtags, product names, brand names to make sure that those updates show up for more and more searches whenever a Facebook user is trying to find real people talking about those things.
Alan, any comments?
I just want to emphasize that something that people are used to Twitter, and people like myself have been on Twitter now, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, I've lost track, maybe more, where we've gotten used to hashtags where, yes, it just became a way of grouping tweets, and within the last year, Facebook has added hashtags to their functionality, but something that most Facebook users, I pick on my wife, who the only social media she uses is Facebook, has no clue about hashtags. And there's an education that needs to go on, and one of the things that I really do like on Facebook with the hashtags, whether you're talking about a product, a conference, a trending topic, is they're become a clickable link within your post. And you click that, and you get to see from everybody who use that hashtag, whether they are within your friends list or not, which is an interesting phenomenon. And so be also a little careful if you put a hashtag in, be aware that you've just made that post public if someone does a search on the hashtag. So that's the only thing. So no, you don't want to, if you want to keep the birth of your new baby amongst your friends and the baby photos, don't put hashtag new baby. That's something you don't want to do. But if you're happy to make it in the public, go right ahead. You might pick up some new friends out there.
Yeah, and the whole thing about Facebook hashtags is that they were probably targeting it more for brands than personal profiles. So for now, if you try searching for hashtags in Facebook, you will see more businesses and brands there. I'm not sure if that's going to change, but as soon as I'm using hashtags on Twitter for business, I would like to do that on Facebook too, just in case. Not much. That I don't expect too much from that, but I do that since they have it.
I think that's an excellent point. It's primarily been implemented by the brands, not individuals. And I think that's part of that transition is people from Twitter to Facebook. But brands and the social media managers who are used to Twitter and using hashtags are using it. So it could be a hashtag, a product name, a hashtag, an event, a hashtag, some marketing concept for a contest. They're going to work, and then the nice part is you can use that across Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and so forth. So it's a wonderful option to expand marketing opportunities and to group things. And as hashtags become searchable in Google and in Bing, now you're going to be bringing all that content together in a single unified location.
Excellent. What about Facebook's Open Graph and cross-pollinating the Facebook presence onto your own website? What kind of benefit is there in taking advantage of Open Graph?
Well, Open Graph is a very old thing from Facebook, and we first found out about it when we were able to add the like button to our website. Those are all different ways Facebook can be integrated within your website, and people who can like your web page when they can see more of their friends who also liked it, and that like also shares that page on their personal profile. So it's an old thing. As the search marketer, what really matters for me is the Open Graph protocol. That's Facebook's schema. Google has schema, Twitter has Twitter part, Facebook has Open Graph, and we have to support all of that to make sure that our content is good for all the major social and search platforms that we have. And one of the most common ways to use Open Graph protocol is to be able to control the thumbnail. Whenever anyone likes your page, they don't know which image is taken from that page and gets published on their personal profile. And with Facebook Open Graph protocol, you can actually point Facebook to that really cool image that will show up on their friends' streams. So this way you can somehow make sure that image is neat, and then it will result in more interaction and discussion. So that's one of the things that I'm using from Facebook Open Graph. I'm not using it that much, apart from the like button and those some basic HTML markup that I'm using.
Excellent. I'm going to take a moment and welcome Erin Cushing to the discussion. You finally made it in.
Hello, yes, I.
Oops. We can hear you, but just barely, dear.
Hello.
Oh, I think Erin's having some technical problems with her audio.
I see signs that the audio is alive and kicking.
But we cannot hear that. We can only see it.
Mm-hmm. Erin, while you're fixing that, I'm going to let Alan chime in on Facebook Open Graph.
Well,
Okay.
I think the biggest issue with Open Graph right now is within our technical social community, we all have heard of Open Graph. We've been experimenting with it. A lot of us couldn't wait to get it into our user interfaces, and I know I was one of the last people in the community to get it. I assume partially because I was in Canada. I'm not quite sure why. But when you come to users like my kids, my wife, friends, they have no clue what Open Graph is. They've never heard of it. They use that search box for just looking for, high school friends, old girlfriends, old boyfriends. And Facebook really has to do a job of explaining Open Graph and its advantages to their general population until it becomes of any significant value.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, many people don't even know that they are using it. If you're a regular reader of the blog and you like the page, you don't know that was Open Graph that connected that to your profile. So we know how it's called. Most users don't. So it's something that we have. I cannot say that I use it too much. I know what it is and I know what it does, and I try to, whenever I care about the page going somehow viral on Facebook, I would probably try to make sure that it's Open Graph friendly. But other than that, I cannot say that I'm an expert.
No.
Next discussion point, and Erin, you can jump in once Anne's had a chance to comment. What kind of tips, Anne, do you have for getting the most search value out of G+ presence?
As they say, Google Plus is only used for those who care about Google. I don't think that that's true to my community, because if I were talking about search community, I would say that the most valuable and the most complete discussions go exactly on the Google Plus. So I do use it. I'm not sure how many people outside of our industry really do that, but I do use it and I like it. And what you need to make sure is that your profile is complete and searchable. And if it's complete and if it's included in many circles right now, you can also have that vanity URL with your name in it, and it helps to rank and it helps to promote. It also Google Plus is what we're using for Google authorship to make sure that our picture shows up in search results. And for brands, we have Google Plus pages and Google Plus communities, which I also use to have a lot of interactions within my industry and to make connections and to learn something new every day. So basically what you need to do is what you need to do on any social network you care about. You need to make sure that your profile is complete, that you add your friends back, that you have them well categorized with Google Plus circles, because that helps if you want to bring something very specific to the special group of your friends, and that increases interaction very much. And the more circles you're in, the better your personalized results are. That's what we do for Google Plus.
I'll just point out to everybody who may not be familiar now with the Google Plus custom URL. This was something up until a few months ago you could apply for. For those who don't know, you go to plus.google.com/ and then there's a whole slew of numbers. And you could, at one point, apply to have a custom URL. So instead of numbers, it could have your name. And Google was very stingy on it. Starting this week, they started rolling it out en masse, both to branded pages and to individuals. You will get a notification. You click through at the top of your page, which you never see in G+. You will see a notification, and they prompt you to go through it. I did it, and I noticed on a couple instances for my own, it said, here's the one we recommend. Would you like another one? And you can submit and have that reviewed at Google to take it. So in my case, I got /+ Alan Connect with no apostrophe. So that worked well. I was happy with that one. When it came to SocialChat, which we're all participating in, it came up with a domain of our website, which for various reasons, the socialchat.com was taken, and we don't want it. And it hasn't when I start going through the approval process, it doesn't prompt me on brand pages to switch the name. We're now in the process of trying to figure out getting an alternative domain, so maybe we can get Google to prompt us back with some other options. We'll see how that goes. But until then, we're going to be left with numbers. And the only thing to warn or caution everybody out there, if you do a careful read of the terms of service and you don't just say OK, I think it's term number 3 or 4, it says, Google is providing the service for free at this time, but reserves the right to charge for it at a future date. We don't know if and when they'll charge, how much they'll charge. Does that mean I want to start putting my Google Plus custom URL on my business cards? Look, if they come out and they say it's $5 a year, sure. I'm not sure yet I want to even put my Google Plus on my business card. I don't think that's going to drive people to connect with me on Google Plus. More than likely, they're just going to search my name and find me there. So that's my 2 cents on the matter. But yes, I claim my custom URL.
Aaron?
Unmute her, please, Michelle.
Trying to unmute her. There she is.
Okay. Hi.
You are unmuted, but it seems like the connection is still messing with you just a little bit with the audio.
Yeah, I'm very sorry about this.
Yeah, sorry, Aaron. You come in and you go out, so I think you just have a bad connection today.
Yeah. Sorry.
Quite all right. It happens to the best of us. We're going to keep the conversation moving along. Hopefully Google will give Aaron some love here in just a moment. Twitter tactics, and is there anything on Twitter that will give search marketers an advantage?
My favorite way to interact on Twitter is hashtags and Twitter chats, and I've been using them for a long time. It's a very powerful tactic to find those real friends that will stick to you and will interact with all your updates. And that's a great way to put your content in front of people when they are interested in it, very timely and very niche related. So that's my first advice. Be sure to research if there are any Twitter chats or set up your own and research the hashtags. Sometimes to get lots of retweets and interaction, all you need to do is to simply use a great hashtag, a popular one. I saw that many times that just a regular update will go very good on Twitter if you use a good hashtag, because that brings many people much attention to that tweet. And we know that the lifetime of every tweet is very short. So whenever you tweet it, the people can see it within 1 minute, and then it will go down to our price of Twitter, which is huge. So hashtags are great ways to get attention on Twitter, and I would encourage everyone to research, investigate, use them, not overuse them, because they make the whole tweet linkable if you use too many of them too often. But make sure to use very good targeted hashtags, and make sure that you brand your own hashtag to make sure that people know how to get attention about your brand-related content. That's my first advice.
Would you say that the use of hashtags is much the same way that we first started using keywords in search? I mean, there is a point where you can overload your copy on your website with too many keywords to the point that it's just not very readable. It is kind of that same sensibility with hashtags, kind of the same thing.
Yes, exactly. With hashtags, you should even be more careful because you have only as many as 140 characters. So if you overuse hashtags within that little amount of space, your tweet will look very linky. So yes, use them, but first do your homework with researching which ones to use. Don't just make every and each word a hashtag.
I'm going to emphasize what Anne said. Do your research. One of my favorite things is I go into Twitter, search.twitter.com, and I will put in a hashtag, and I will see if it's in use, and if so, how it's using. I know when I put out my book 3 years ago, I had a hashtag, and I researched it galore, and it seemed fun. I started using it, and lo and behold, someone, I can't remember where, but in the eastern side of Europe, started using the same hashtag for something completely different, and we ended up in conflict. Who came first, I can't tell you. When I did it, there was nothing in 30 days. And that's one of the problems. And the other tip I will give when you are researching your hashtag, if you're doing a multiple word combination, capitalize the first letter of each word. I know some apps automatically make everything lowercase because you need to read the whole thing and run it by a few people and ask them what they think of that hashtag, and presumably somebody who doesn't know what you're marketing, because it'll be interesting to see where they split the words. The classic example, I wrote a blog post several months ago when Margaret Thatcher died. The popular hashtag was "Now that Thatcher is dead," but people read it that now that now that Cher is dead, and it created all the Cher fans. What? We're searching Cher's death. Nobody even knew where that rumor came from and had nothing to do with it. It's people will read into the hashtag what their previous experiences are, what they're interested in, and just because you were interested in Margaret Thatcher and they were a Cher fan, they're seeing CHER at the end, not Thatcher. So be aware, run it by people, especially for a marketing campaign, and have a strategy, because McDonald's stories backfired as people start telling horror stories. So also have a disaster recovery strategy in place for when you do launch, because you never know what's going to happen, and they can easily be hijacked.
Yeah, and I also wanted to add that in some cases, hashtags are really a must. If you go to events, you should know which hashtag you're using. If you are into local business, you have to know the local hashtags, communities, cities, towns, country-specific hashtags. So in some cases, they are even a must to use because you can do so much more with them.
All right, guys, we're coming to the end of this. Any final tips? Are there any other social networks that really rock when it comes to driving traffic? Final words. Anne, you first.
My most favorite is YouTube because I do a lot of videos and video instructions, video tutorials. So YouTube, it ranks very well, and it also very obvious in general results because you can see the video thumbnail in there. I also found SlideShare very powerful, especially if you have presentations and you can put them up there. They go viral there very quickly and very easily. You just need a couple of tweets and they will be picked up, and they will be on homepage, and you will see much more traffic and brand awareness. And on top of that, you can also turn any presentation into a video, add some music, and here you go, you have another video for your YouTube channel. So I'm using those two very actively, and I have very huge response from that because they help people. People like visual content, people love visual channels and social media platforms, and they are very popular and active and quite easy. So we are in the era when everyone can create a cool video and go viral. So I would highly encourage all the visual channels. I haven't had too much luck with Pinterest, Tumblr, just because I haven't had time to vote for them, but those two I've had huge luck with.
I'm just going to add a little bit on to what Anne said about SlideShare. They do now have a G+ integration, so when you upload your slide, it will promote it automatically to your G+ page, and any integration that SlideShare provides you to any social property, do it. And don't be afraid to have a Pinterest account, and of course, pin your SlideShare. You want to connect your networks as much as possible. So that's, I'd say, is something very critical that people don't think. I'm going to post it here, I'm going to post it there. Start interconnecting them, because then people will find other properties that you're involved in, and that may be their preferred platform and may start following you and interacting with you on those platforms.
Again, Erin's still having a couple of issues, but she had added in our text chat that is running alongside our Hangout here that Pinterest does a really great job of driving traffic, particularly for brands that have product for sale. We're finding very often that Pinterest users are actually shoppers, more so than Facebook users and other things. If they're pinning something, it's because they're planning a wedding, they're planning a party, they found a recipe they like. Pinterest users tend to be shoppers, so they're very willing to click through and buy something when you pin it up.
Yeah.
Any other last comments? We're about to wrap this up.
Oh. We love you, Erin. No, I just think, when it comes to all these tactics, you got to find out what you're comfortable with, and most importantly, find out where your audience is, and then put your attention there, and you will see success.
Yeah, the hardest thing about social media that I would love to do all the platforms that are out there, but you cannot achieve anything, any interactions or any success unless you participate. So that's very time consuming. Though try as many as you can, pick those that seem to work best and focus on them.
Excellent. Erin, I'm not sure we got your audio yet.
I don't think so.
Hey, bonus points for trying. We'll have to have you back again sometime when you've got your firewall issues straightened out and we can hear you as well as see you. That, my friends, is a wrap for the SocialChat Recap Hangout. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Have a great one.